Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A, formerly 5B, and I know it's been a little bit, but last week when I normally do these garden tours, we were having some work done, which is now done, and I get to show you, and I'm kind of excited. So we're just gonna jump into this garden tour because I'm ready. How about we start with the new stuff? As you can see, we have mulch around all of these beds. It was about 3 days of work of ripping up the sod along all of these beds and then putting down, quite a bit of mulch. There's probably 2 large truckloads of mulch. And just the way everything pops, now that there's mulch everywhere. And I will admit that because of all the work being done, the plants are a little neglected. As you can see, there's some dead stuff that I need to remove, and I'm trying not to make you dizzy. I'm gonna go slow. But then there's also some tomato plants that I need to come through, probably pull out, and all of the beans next to it are done. The peppers are taking over where the potatoes used to be a big deal. And next week for sure, all of the potatoes will be pulled up and I will put those into storage now that my brain capacity can handle it. But yeah, I need to do some major cleanup of these beds, and it looks like I've got quite a few eggplants that I need to come and harvest. I should start looking at the carrots as well. There's probably several varieties in there that are good to harvest at this point, because we are now falling into fall. So that'll be probably the next big harvest. And as you can see, I did do a major cleanup of this jelly melon. I don't know why I wanted to call it a jelly berry, but it's a jelly melon. But it's starting to come out of the beds again. So the hard prune wasn't a bad thing, and I am still keeping an eye on the fruit. I will not let you know when I harvest that and what it tastes like and what it looks like inside. I'm kind of excited about that. But here we've got another big change, is we now have a path between the beds to this water fountain area, which I must admit is looking gorgeous, even though I've got a serious grass problem. Right now, it looks kind of cute with the grass. But I think when spring comes next year, we're going to do a hard reset of a lot of this in-ground bed area, because I'm kind of tired of fighting a lot of that grass. So we're gonna have to do a hard reset. But the zinnias, look at those zinnias. They are so gorgeous right now. I love them. The kiwi are looking fabulous. Still no fruit. I've never seen flowers. So it might just be that I'm growing kiwi vines for the rest of my life, which is fine. I do like how they look. It's just one of those things. And then I'll give you a peek down this way, where you can see we are starting to get a lot of sunflowers. I'm going to turn you back this way real quick. Looks like I have lots of tomatoes that I need to come and harvest today. But we've got, I just love this path so much. And you can see how big the okra has gotten from here, and the corn, and the, the ground cherry. I did pull out the volunteer squash, whatever it was, which makes that trellis kind of pointless, but it's there, it's fine. But yeah, that's kind of that area. I guess I could have just talked to you about it. I did a lot of hard cleaning of the tomatoes in the pots because they were not doing so hot. But we're starting to get flooded with obviously lots of okra. And it looks like my dill plant with the yellow flowers right there is starting a solid second round of flowering. So that's fun. Looks like I've also got a giant weed that needs to be pulled. Right there. That's not supposed to be there. So I will put that on the list of I should probably do. Anyways, this is probably like the most chaotic garden tour I've done in a long time. No structure, I'm just going for it. Potatoes, once again, they will be harvested next week. I have room for them now, so we will get them up and out of the soil. The sweet peppers are really starting to get into their production cycle. We're in the part of the year where it's pretty much every day harvesting tomatoes and peppers. And some of these pepper plants are really starting to thrive in the temperatures we're getting. As you can see with some of these variegated peppers starting to lean out of the bed. I did decide to go through and chop down all of the chickpeas and put it back down as a mulch for this bed so they can just decompose in place. The problem is most of the chickpea had died back. I don't know if it was just the time for it to die back or what. And then all of the pods that had possible chickpeas in it got eaten from the inside by something. I don't know what. So I officially didn't get any chickpeas. I need to do a lot of research this winter to see what this is. And then we've got our spicy peppers, which are probably doing twice as well as they used to be doing, especially since I took the, let's see if I can come back this way. I took out the squash plant that used to be here. It had vined all over this bed, and then we were having a squash bug problem, which has since moved to another part of the garden, which I will get to because I'm not happy about it. But now that that vine is gone and the bugs are gone, these are starting to take off. And as you can see, I've got some ripe jalapenos I can pick. These are savory peppers, which are a less spicy habanero. So it doesn't really have much of a kick. And I'm sure there are some hidden treasures in there because it looks like over here I've got some ahi peppers as well. But I am going to take you to the in-ground bed around the fire pit and the bed underneath the deck because there are some things that you should probably see. So this is the rest of the in-ground bed over here that I didn't show you from the other side. We've got the cowpeas starting to really bush out. Still haven't pushed them up the trellis, but it will happen. And we are getting several very big strawberries still, which is fun. The strawberries and the chives are kind of both very aggressive plants, and it's interesting to see them fight for space, I guess. And I'm totally fine with what they're doing because they're both very productive, so I'll leave them there. But as you can see, we have this lovely vine that has decided this is where it wants to be. And it is joined by several other vines I need to trim before it chokes out what is left of my honeyberry bushes, because as you can see, I don't know if this one's gonna come back next year. And the other one I planted isn't looking too hot either. So I'm gonna hit both of those with some fertilizer and hope I can help it bounce back before we hit a frost, because I want those roots established. I want it to come back. Otherwise, we've got, this thing needs a name, but we already call the morning glory vine that always comes back each year up front Bertha. So we need something different, but it needs a name. We can no longer use our gate right now. I told you I got distracted while the work for around the bed was happening, and things went a little wild on me, because what the heck? We do have several loofah. I've shown you this one before, but it has gotten massive. Most of the other ones you have to be up on the deck to find, but we've got promise of more. And once again, I need to train several more tendrils before they get embedded in my window screens. So yeah, she be happy right now, which is hilarious because this thing is just in a bag with sweet potatoes. And so I'm sure they're fighting for resources, but you can't tell with how the sweet potatoes are going crazy and the loofah are going crazy. And at some point I do need to check to see how the sweet potatoes are doing. And this is my other sadness. This is where all the squash bugs went when I had to pull out all of the other squash, because the squash bugs had killed the squash plants. And so they found my last remaining hope of zucchini for the season, and they have since terminated all hope. So I am not getting any kind of edible squash this year, which is sad. And I am thinking about holding off doing squash next year to give the garden a year of reset, and maybe the year after that, the squash bugs won't be nearly as devastating because they don't think they're squash here anymore. And so it might be one of those things that I have squash one year and not the next year, and I just kind of rotate back and forth, but we'll see. Otherwise, we've got this pepper plant that's doing very well. There are runner beans hiding in the loofah. You can see that red flower, sort of. I can't get any closer than that, but those are runner beans. I guess there's some up here. There's their flowers. I haven't seen any actual beans yet. And obviously I've got loofah that are coming around that I don't want to suffocate my pepper plants, so those are gonna have to get trimmed. This volunteer tomato plant hasn't produced any fruit yet, but it's existing. And I think there's spinach. Oh, yep, there's spinach. That's a spinach plant. So if I wanted spinach, I'd just have to wade my way through the loofah plant, the tomato plant, the pineberry plants, and I can get a couple leaves of spinach. Oh, this side of my garden is an absolute mess. But you know what? It makes me smile. So sometimes in the chaos of your life, you just have to let things go. Because right now, Luffa. Oh, I need to pull all of those tomatoes right there. They're not doing too well. They got neglected. That was my fault. I still need to find a good way to maintain that area. But the loofah plant has made its way over there, and it's starting to attack the hummingbird feeder. It's wrapped around it really bad. It's gone up through the middle and it's coming out the top. Oh goodness, I don't pay attention for 5 days, and here we are. Otherwise, we have this bed, which has just basically become all basil because I tried to plant spinach in it and it didn't take, and then I could no longer find the stepping stones through the path of pine berries, and I gave up. So it happens. This peach tree, which has the same setup as the one I showed you with all of the chives and strawberries. Something about this area, I don't think it gets the same amount of water as the other area, which is why the strawberries and chives aren't doing nearly as well. They still exist, but they're not as aggressive. And I have all these stupid water shoots of the original peach tree that are trying to come up, because this tree is a grafted tree. And so I need to go through and I need to trim all of that. We've got our third section of okra, and as always, the blueberry plants, which I haven't actually done a lot with, but they seem to be doing okay. So I'm just letting them do their thing. But yeah, that is the garden as it stands right now in all of its glorious chaos and structured beauty. So as you can see, there are parts of the garden that may be a little neglected. Chaos of this year, of my brain and the heat. I don't like being out here when it's very hot, and I don't always have the time in the morning to do all the work that needs to be done before it gets really, really warm. So some things I've been letting slide, but since we are getting closer and closer to fall, the weather has been mellowing out a little bit, because right now it is lovely outside. It's probably high 60s, low 70s, and this is my favorite temperature. So today I will probably get quite a bit of work done if things stay about this temperature, because we've got overcast, so I'm guessing it will. I may get the loofah a little under control and start thinking about some of the other things around here that you saw need trellis, like the cowpeas, pull out some of the tomato plants that aren't doing so well, and things like that. Otherwise, I mean, I try to keep up with things over on Instagram and Threads if you want to see some of the photos of my harvest and other things like that. If you want to see my garden grow and change with me, because I try to do these every week, subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications. But with that, I do hope I will see you again in another video, and I heart you beautiful faces.